It's time to install another Linux operating system. This time I'm going to go with Linux Lite 7.4 64-bit, and I'm going to boot in normal mode, and then I'm going to select direct install Linux Lite 7.4 to see what it's like, starting with an install rather than the live system. I'm going to press enter now and see what we get. I don't know if we're going to get the graphical user interface or some kind of different install process, but I know you guys have been asking me to install it onto the built-in drive for better performance. So that's what I'm going to do with this, and we'll see how long it takes and what happens. This laptop is an HP Stream 11, and of one of the first videos on this, we took it apart to see what was inside and whether it could be upgraded. It couldn't be upgraded. It's only got 2 GB of RAM and a dual core processor, which is a Celeron N3060. So the performance of this laptop isn't great, which is partly why we're trying different light operating systems, and there are a whole bunch on my channel, from Windows 8 to various different Linux operating systems, and ChromeOS and FireDOS and BlissOS and numerous other things. If you can't find it on the channel, leave a comment and let me know what you want me to try on this laptop. That was interesting. This laptop has had a lot of things installed on it, and it is an old laptop. The battery in this laptop is completely dead, doesn't work at all. But Willis the cat seems to like the laptop and likes watching different YouTube videos on here. Just seeing if we've got a mouse or if anything's happening. We've got a grey screen. It would be nice if there was some kind of spinning wheel or some kind of text information to let us know that something's happening. The power usage, which you can't see because the cat is in the way, is at about 6.7. The power usage is going up to 8 watts, which I think means something's happening. This laptop varies between about 5 watts and 11 watts. It's really low power, this Celeron processor. So yay, we've got a mouse. And this is real time. I've not sped anything up, but if I do, I'll put something on screen to let you know. So as part of this install, we should probably connect to the Wi-Fi to get any available updates. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what the install process is. Okay. We've got the setup process, and I'm guessing I just click continue and go through these steps. The drive in here is a 31 GB eMMC. I'm just gonna go for either the quickest or default options. I'm gonna cover this up so you can't see me connecting to the network. Okay, we've got to the next screen, and we've got the option to download updates while installing, and I'm going to skip that because I want this to be a quicker install process, and we can always do the updates afterwards. We also connected to the Wi-Fi. So we should be able to install it alongside the Windows that's on here. I think there should be enough space. Okay. Let's just keep this as a user for simplicity and log on automatically. The nice thing about this laptop is that it was very cheap when I bought it. Can't remember exactly how much I paid for it, but it was cheap and it works, and I'm able to try different operating systems. And that's kind of the nice thing about old hardware, is that you can use it with older operating systems or even new light operating systems, and you get a working system that you can just play around with, and you don't have to worry too much about it. Or you could give it to someone and let them use it as a spare laptop. It's nice to keep things separate, such as your maybe work laptop and other things. And if this had a battery, this could be a useful laptop to kind of keep in the kitchen or in other parts of the house where you just want quick access to the internet but still want a keyboard. I've used tablets previously, and I just find I'm always wanting to use a keyboard, and if I just want to look something up, I'll often use a phone. But yeah, these old hardware can be really useful, especially if it's cheap and affordable. So this comes with LibreOffice. Can I go back? It's free and suited to those trying Linux for the first time, or for reviving older hardware, which is what I was just saying. So it comes with VLC, Kodi is available as a media center, and GIMP is an easy to use image editor. Steam, interesting, mentioning Steam. And it also mentions Wine for running Windows software. So I think we'll speed the next bit up while this installs. I'm not really sure what's happened. It seems to have crashed. So let's try switching it off, holding the power button, taking the USB drive out and switching it on, and see if we can continue with the install or boot into the Linux option. This laptop has a habit of getting stuck with secure boot being enabled. It's pretty annoying, and you have to hold the power button and completely kind of wait a long time for it to let you go into the BIOS. So it keeps coming up with this error even though I've switched it off and on again. Now I'm in the BIOS, I'm going to disable secure boot. Okay, it looks like we're booting into Windows. It looks like the Linux install didn't actually work. So let's start that process all over again and see if we can install it. It's really annoying when an install doesn't work, because you're left having to start all over again. Now I'm starting the install process from scratch. Don't know why it's doing this. So it appears as though it's broken the ISO image and now won't boot the ISO file. Okay, what's happened there is I think it's tried to install Linux on this USB drive. So all of these aren't actually here, it's wiped them. So that means I need to recreate my Ventoy disk and recopy all of these ISO files onto the Ventoy disk. I think the oversimplified install process of Linux Lite means that these kind of errors can happen. Yeah, so we need to start from scratch with this. I need to recreate my Ventoy USB drive, recopy all of these things onto it, because yeah, the partition that all of these are on has been wiped. This is, I guess, partly why it's much safer to use a live boot, so you can try it out without the risk of formatting something you don't want to format. But this doesn't matter too much. At the end of the day, I've not lost any data. I've got all of these somewhere else, but it's just a real pain. And we're back, and we've got the Linux Lite, and we'll do the same thing again. We will directly install it, but we'll pay more attention when it comes to the partition selection. And this time round I'll just speed up the process, so we'll jump straight to the important bits. Okay, I'm going to try and make sure that this selects the right drive. I think this is the concerning thing, is that this computer currently has Windows Boot Manager, so you think that it would install on the drive with Windows Boot Manager, but what it actually did was it wiped the USB drive. So I'm going to try erase disk and install Linux, and this be the internal drive that it's going to do that on. So erase disk, yeah, okay, but what disk is it using? It's not telling me. That is a really big issue. So let's try something else and see what the options are. Okay, so we've got this eMMC, that's the internal drive. This is the Ventoy, two Ventoy drives. So this is also Ventoy. So if we go for this one, SDA1, or this one is the one we actually want, eMMC BLK 0, and this partition 4, which is NTFS. We can format this, except it won't let us. Oh, it will. Great. And this is where the Linux installation process for me completely falls apart. I need the advanced options so that I can select where I want to install Linux, but I don't want to have to go through all these choices myself. Format the partition. And for example, I shouldn't have to choose all these options. There should be a option to say at this stage earlier which drive do I want to use in the simple form of the Linux install process. Let me choose where to install it. Erase disk, yes, but what disk? I don't want to erase the USB disk. So, aha, why didn't it give us this option earlier? Okay, great. So we have this choice. This choice wasn't there earlier, was it? I'll have to look back at the video, but it wasn't there as far as I'm aware. So hopefully this time it'll work, and we'll come back afterwards, see how it goes. Installation is complete and we can restart now. Took about 25 minutes to install. The eMMC drive in this laptop is slow. It's not as quick as an SSD, so if you have a laptop with an SSD, you should get better performance. Okay, we're removing the USB drive, pressing enter, and it should reboot and load into Linux Lite. Okay, that was about a minute, and we're at the desktop. Oh, it played some noise for us. So I'll just connect to the Wi-Fi. I'm now connected to the Wi-Fi, and we've got Chrome as the default browser. Let me right click and see if I can change the settings to make this a little bit bigger, the icons and things. Make them easier to see. But also, I guess, uses up a little bit of space. It's a little bit frustrating that the homepage has adverts. That slows things down, but it's understandable. Let's start with WebGL Aquarium. So we're getting quite varied frame rate, about 40 frames per second, up to 50 frames per second, but there's some slowdown as well. Let's try YouTube. I'm using a mouse with this as I prefer it to a trackpad. Let's bring up some stats. Not sure. Okay, here we go. So it's using AV01. And we've selected 720p, and it seems to be coping with this fine. Oh, it's switched over to VP09 codec. I wonder why it's done that. Let's try a number of different websites and see how many tabs we can get. We should also bring up System Monitor and have a quick look at what's on here. So we've got my computer, we've got settings, we've got accessories, we've got graphics, and it does have GIMP here. We've got internet, so we've got web browser, mail client, multimedia, VLC, CD, DVD burner, volume control, office, and system is where we've got the terminal and system monitor. And this system monitor looks really nice. It's got a lot of information in here. So we've got information about the processor, even the processor cache information. We've got the RAM information. So used is 640 megabytes. So let's close this browser and we'll see what that drops to, 450 megabytes. So that's nice. We've got plenty of space. Physical RAM 2 gigs and swap memory 3. So yeah, this operating system is using quite a small amount of memory, and Willis has decided she's had enough, so she's off. It even tells us the GPU frames per second for just sitting here in the system, so that's interesting. And we've got sensors with temperature sensors and battery information. So yeah, quite like this system monitor. So let's see how many tabs we can open. We'll leave the system monitor up here. So we've got 4 tabs open. What is the RAM usage looking like? Still only 679 megabytes used. So this will bring us up to 8 tabs. And this is showing us a swap usage. And the CPU is running at the full 2.48 gigahertz. But it's coping quite well. We're still able to go to these different tabs, scroll through, and it draws in the information. And it seems quite responsive. Yeah, let's try this website because this is quite a long page. It's loaded quite quickly. But it is slowing down a little bit. So it's still loading this page as far as I can tell. If we leave that running, we should still be able to use other parts of the operating system like the terminal. That looks quite neat. It's sort of see-through. And it gives us a quick bit of information in terms of memory usage, disk usage, and support. I quite like it when they have this little color-coded bit here. Okay, this page does tend to upset systems that are a little bit slower. So we're going to exit this page and close that, just to make it a little bit happier in terms of web browsing and the system in general. Just check the weather. That loaded quite quickly and has given us today's weather. That looks like a film camera. It's got this little compartment here for a button battery. These are the instructions on how to install Quake 3, the demo onto Linux when you've got the option of sudo apt, and this does so. Just installing that. So we've got into Quake. The demos aren't there, but we can go and change the settings. This is a slow laptop, but we get there in the end. I think one of the nice things about these Celeron processors is that the graphics are acceptable. The processor may be relatively slow, but the graphics have sort of benefited from the more modern Intel chips, and it's still nothing special or particularly amazing, but for a bit of light gaming it certainly does a good enough job, particularly with the older titles like this and probably Unreal Tournament. I'm not even doing anything. So yeah, you can play random games on this. The system seems to run quite nicely, and can't really complain. I particularly like this system monitor. It's got lots of useful information. Got a help manual, control panel, power manager, and a whole bunch of interesting things on here. And you've got kind of useful packages like Office and media players and things like that. Now that we've installed Quake, it's got a games section as well. So yeah, thanks for the suggestion to the people who suggested I try Linux Lite. Seems quite nice and runs well enough. But let me know what you use and leave a comment below. Thanks for subscribing and sharing videos, and check out the extra features available for channel members and have a look at my second channel as well. Thanks for watching, and bye.